Munchuk Gaming. I'm the Munchuk Gamer, and let's face it, Mortal Kombat X is one of the biggest releases of the year. Now, after I got my first Xbox 360 in 2011, and I immediately picked up this game because it looked fun, I wanted to try it out, I can call myself a Mortal Kombat fan, even though I've only really played the Mortal Kombat trilogy and the last game. But I still really enjoy it! So, Mortal Kombat X is out. Will I like this one just as much? Well, let's take a look.
This game is a direct follow-up to MK9 in the alternate timeline, so if you haven't played that one yet, this may have some spoilers for you. The game begins a couple years after Shao Kahn was destroyed for breaking the rules of Mortal Kombat. And now Shinnok, a fallen elder god, has arisen from the Netherrealm to take over Earthrealm. So the stage is set for an epic war to stop a god of death from sucking the life out of Earthrealm, or he gets beaten by Johnny Cage and sealed in his own amulet for 20 years. Wait, what? I mean, that could have been an awesome game in and of itself, but I guess we're moving right along. Are you sure you want to just abandon that idea? Okay. The heroes of Earthrealm have a new generation of kids that are all lovingly politically correct. We have Cassie Cage, the white girl whose parents are divorced. Jackie Briggs, who is the token black character. Takeda Takahashi, who has daddy issues and whose mother is dead. And lastly, we have Kung Jin, a reformed thief who is also the token homosexual. I wouldn't mind these characters if it weren't for the fact that when the story focuses on them, it feels like Captain Planet. They're just so stereotypical and boring. Well, except for Kung Jin. He doesn't act like the stereotypical gay guy. And despite different genders, sexualities, and races, they almost all have the same personality! They're all smart Alex, but when it's time to get serious, they're all suddenly really good at what they do. Here, let me give you a little example. One of their first missions is to train against Sub-Zero and his newly reformed Lin Kuei clan. They're all disorganized and don't follow orders from Cassie, and so they end up sucking. However, at the end of the game, they suddenly start being a good team without coming to terms with having to work together. The older generation is out of commission, so they have to save the world, but in between those moments, we don't see them reaching a point of agreement with one another. Now, you could argue that the scene where they're all locked up is that point. However, I see it more as setting up the background of one of the four, then the four learning they need to work together and have solid organization if they're going to not die. It's like the writers decided the characters needed to be developed by the end of the story, but not put the development in the story. Then again, the lack of character development would explain the lack of development for characters in Outworld. See, while Earthrealm is trying to hunt down Quan Chi to bring all the heroes that died in the last game back, a civil war for power is going on in Outworld, between Mileena and my main man, Kotal Kahn! Mileena ends up getting her hands on Shinnok's amulet, and is able to use it to perform deadly, powerful attacks on hordes of enemies all at once. And in this war are those loyal to Mileena, but many new characters have risen up to join Kotal Kahn, and none of them are developed well despite being awesome. Devora the Bug Queen is probably the most developed, but even she's cast aside fairly easily. What about Farah and Tor? What about Aaron Black? They look cool, they could have had interesting flashbacks with them, but no, we don't get to learn about a culture that has a little girl commanding a giant hulk of a man. Or an Earthrealm human who was an outcast there, and so he chose to abandon it and find new life in Outworld. They're just goons, working for Kotal Kahn. Heck, they practically demoted Ermac to that same role! Then again, some past Mortal Kombat characters are thrown in the story, unplayable, and rather pointless as cameos. While all of that is going on, Quan Chi, now hunted down for his war crimes and to bring back the dead Earthrealm warriors, and a secret order of those loyal to Shinnok are trying to get that same amulet back and release the fallen Elder God. Let me summarize all that for you. Earthrealm wants to capture Quan Chi to bring back all the dead heroes from MK9. Kotal Kahn wants to end Mileena and get Shinnok's amulet back because he's angry that Raiden would let a thief steal it from its vault and wants to provide protection for Outworld. Mileena wants to kill Kotal Kahn to take over Outworld again. The Netherrealm wants Shinnok's amulet to bring back the fallen Elder God so he can conquer all of the realms of the universe. My problem is that this is a beautiful framing for a good story, but the characters are just so boring and have no development at all. It's like the writers knew where a character should start and where they needed to go, but not how to fill that space in between. Why does Sonya Blade hate Johnny Cage? Just because they're divorced? Why does Takeda instantly forgive his birth father? Why do Scorpion and Sub-Zero become friends so easily after Sub-Zero says, "Oopsie, the Lin Kuei and Quan Chi were responsible for your clan's death after all. My bad." And the story mode is also significantly easier and shorter than MK9's. I beat it between 4 and 5 hours. So if you judge your game by the single player, you're crap out of luck. But you're not here for a story, you're here for the gore! And visually, this game is a technical dream. It's running at 1080p at a solid 60 frames a second, giving you the most blood for your buck. And this is on a console, not a PC. Then again, the PC version of this game has had trouble with characters and keeping the crypt unlocked, so maybe console gaming really is the way to go. The aesthetic design varies from character to character. Some are just unpleasant to look at, not because they're ugly, but because the design is just hard on the eyes. Be it from overcomplication, or the characters just not being distinct enough. I mean, I don't remember much about Farah at all, other than that she's a little girl wearing small, spiky bits of metal. Sound effects are lovingly visceral as you tear your foes apart. However, when you learn how they were made, it does take away from the magic. The music is also very forgettable. Seriously, I can't remember one track from this game. Not the title menu, not the in-game fights, absolutely nothing. Now, I also have to make a callback to an earlier review. You remember my Darkness 2 review? Of course not, nobody watches my older stuff, nor does anybody watch it now for that matter. But in it, I said that it had gore that rivaled Mortal Kombat. Well, apparently, the guys at NetherRealm Studios wanted to trounce the competition and they cranked the violence up to 11. X-ray moves return, brutalities are back, stage hazard moves have an X-ray move in them, and multiple fatalities in this game rival the most horrifying fatality in MK9, the Wishbone. In this game, you have Liu Kang tearing out your esophagus and shoving your throat down your throat, Kenshi turning you into hamburger meat head first, and Quan Chi forcing you to walk mouth first into a sword. These are just... Ow! For gameplay, let me just get this out of the way. There are now QuickTime events that you cannot fail in the story mode. These were stupid and would have been more fun to actually fight in a falling plane! But no! Let's have a scripted sequence instead! Yay! In terms of fighting, there's not much to say. High and low punches and kicks, make combos, do special moves, yada yada yada. The gameplay hasn't changed much since the last game at all. The key difference is using backgrounds to leap around the stage or using them to hurt your opponent, such as, oh, I don't know, Old Lady Attack! I love that one. There aren't even as many fighters as last time around. Instead, NetherRealm Studios chose to have 3 different playstyles for each character. This sounds great on paper, but in reality, however, you'll find that some of the best special moves have been split up, resulting in you not being able to perform all the moves a character used to be able to do as a single character. And when having more choice for your players limits their choices of how they can play the game, you may need to get a new dictionary. There's the arcade mode, the towers with fighting challenges, but they're basically the same thing. There's the crypt where you spend coins on unlockables, but it's basically the same thing from MK9. Is there anything else new to this game? Well, there's the faction system. You pick one of 5 factions at the start of a game, and if you do well, your entire faction gets a reward.
Now, I'm not one to push my faction choice on any of you people, but Lin Kuei for life!
However, there are some factions that will obviously have more people on them because of the characters they love playing as, even though the characters don't really matter for the faction. So 1 or 2 groups will always dominate it. And I suppose I can't talk about this game without talking about the controversial DLCs. First off, I've heard that Goro is on-disc DLC, but that was only from one source. If there is more substantial proof that he is on the disc and he can only be unlocked by code or by paying for him, then I'll raise hell. Until then, there are bigger fish to fry. 2 such fish are the easy fatalities and unlocking the entire crypt. I find unlocking the entire crypt to be more malicious here, because that is paying to unlock everything the game has to offer, meaning more fatalities, costumes, a soundtrack, etc. Easy fatalities just seem stupid to me, honestly. See, people who have played more than one Mortal Kombat won't buy them because we recognize that fatalities aren't exactly hard to pull off. New players might buy them, but this game's story isn't exactly meant for new players, despite the writers pushing new characters that are basically diet versions of existing characters. And since you can get the fatality list by pausing, the new players will most likely go to that menu to learn them rather than buy to make them easier. The only audience I could possibly see using easy fatalities are the people that just got the game to play as Jason Voorhees in The Predator. But that point I made about easily looking up the fatalities in the game still apply, especially because DLC characters have both of their fatalities unlocked already. Honestly, I'm more confused about the business strategy behind this than angry about it. It's stupid in a logic sense, rather than stupid in a greedy sense.
Look, the game has its problems, and I would actually say get MK9 over this, if you haven't played that one already. It has better gameplay with all of these special moves in one character rather than the one character being split up into 3 different people. It doesn't have these microtransactions. You could play as Kratos in the PS3 version. But all of that said, Mortal Kombat X is still fun. It just has those problems. With that in mind, I'm giving it a B. It's just that if you haven't played the last game, you won't get as much enjoyment out of this one. Alright, that's it, and I'll see you all next week.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, then why not like, comment, and subscribe to my channel? And if you're just looking for a new video to watch, then why not watch some of my older stuff over there on the side of the video? You might like it.